Good Friday afternoon, evening, wherever you may be, and it is actually Good Friday. It is.
Yes, it is.
It is a Good Friday.
Good, like good in excellent Friday, or good in as in. Is it some holiday?
It's like when Jesus died.
Oh.
Good Friday, Jesus died. So
I'm catching up. I never know. How do you know anymore when it's a holiday or not? If you work from home and you don't have official working hours, I don't know.
Well, as you sort of said last week, is my daughter in school or not? That's the holiday.
Oh yeah,
right.
You're absolutely right, and I already forgot about that detail.
Karen, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Man, it's been one of those weeks, hasn't it? One of those weeks. All right.
One of those. Don't talk about it.
Hi, by the way.
Next week is going to be.
Well, we'll talk about next week.
Okay.
Because that will be interesting. Actually, it's the week after that's even worse, but we'll get to there too. Hi, by the way, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, when we are around, which happens to be this week and next week, but not the week after, we talk about news of the week. So the reason why not the Friday after is, Victor, can you tell me why it's not going to be that Friday? I didn't have a drink this week. Actually, I did.
Yeah.
I have my water, but that's... it's KubeCon.
Yes. That's it's in 10 days or something. The week after next.
Correct. So 2 weeks from today, you'll be finished with KubeCon. That's the way to look at it.
2 weeks from
there,
there, I will be finished with KubeCon. Yes, exactly.
And that can't come fast enough, it sounds like. All right. As long as you don't forget about your daughter, right? You can forget about her not being in school. Just don't forget her.
That's the thing why I forgot it. The reason why I forgot it is holiday, and I did say last time that I know when it's a holiday when children don't go to school, but I've been locked in this room for days now. I hardly go out because of the work and stuff like that. So I don't even know whether she's at school or no.
Luis, good to see you. Thanks for being here with us live on this very good Friday. Let's get into the news. And we may keep this short because I still have a couple more things to write today. And no, I'm not going to KubeCon. By the way, did you get some emails from people saying, hey, are you going to be at KubeCon?
If it's commercial emails, I delete those without reading. And if I see it more than twice, it goes to spam.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. There's been a lot of them this week. This week's episode was just an episode with just me and Victor. Those are... we're being a little more intentional about those. We're doing this about every 4 to 6 to 8 weeks throughout the year. We have guests on in between. But this one was talking about custom silicon and digital twins. And I just really want a physical twin.
You want a physical twin?
Because maybe I could actually work 24 hours a day easily than if I had a physical twin.
No, I'm dreading that my daughter might ask for the same thing, and I'm not having more children, man.
Anyway, that was this week's episode. We'll be back with guests again next week. I don't even remember who's on next week. Just don't remember.
Somebody, that's for sure. So again, podcast comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, noon CET. Now that I believe last week was when everything got back in sync with daylight time. There's still a couple of places around the world that still aren't there yet, which is even stranger. You know, my office is like a hotel in Las Vegas. Both office in this location and the other one has no natural light. So I have no idea, literally, whether it's day or night. It's all part of a sinister plan. So daylight saving or this saving makes no difference,
matter.
man.
Yep. Okay. First thing, you might like this. It doesn't help you right now. So this is from Nicholas Frankel, who we've had on before.
Yeah?
Quite a while back. There's Nicholas right there. I'm not even sure where he's working right now. He was working for somebody else when we had him on. But he wrote this Firefox plugin. Why did he write this Firefox plugin, you may ask?
What is Firefox?
It's a browser.
Yeah, it sounds like something that somebody or me was using like 10 years ago. I'm being sinister today. Evil.
I can tell. So, a couple of weeks ago, I spent the weekend creating another CFP. How many CFPs do you do a week? Do you think? 2 to 3?
Probably, maybe, I don't know. So I hardly ever submit any more CFPs, but people do contact me and kind of like, hey, do you want to talk? Yeah, what do you need from your CFP? Okay. But It's copy and paste, so it's all in a Git repo.
Right. Well, so he wanted a helper in a Firefox because here's his flow. Everything's in Trello. This is the reason why I thought of you, because you use Trello.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then he created an app that registered a webhook on the board. And then when I move a conference from one link to another, it starts or creates a workflow, whatever. So he wanted to automate all this basically through, as a lazy developer, again, I thought of you. I want to automatically add CFP data on Trello while browsing a web page on pay-per-call or Sessionize. So as to spend my time doing more fun stuff than copy and paste.
That's it. The SA was enough for me to say, yeah, man.
Yeah. And his
Doesn't
requirement
matter
was,
what the rest is.
so in other words, if you don't have Firefox installed, you might even consider installing Firefox at this point. Just for this one thing.
Yep. I'm getting curious now, yes.
And then also I wanted to create my first extension in Rust with WebAssembly. I didn't. So longer post. He goes through all the stuff that only Nicholas can do in a very nice, clean format. But I thought of, okay, I don't submit to conferences for a number of reasons, but we'll leave those there. But I knew Victor did a lot, whether he actually submitted or had people call him up. But then when I saw as a lazy developer, I went, okay, that's going on the storyboard this week. Yeah, it's like we have to talk about this one. So anyway, that's from Java Geek. By the way, all the links to everything we see today will be down in the description, maybe tonight Eastern time. I think I'm going to get to it tonight because I have other things to do tomorrow, like edit podcasts. Going back to Luis here, I'm going for the B-Sides KubeCon, Cloud Native Rejects. Are you going to Rejects?
Oh, yeah, Rejects is my favorite part of KubeCon.
What did you just do? You just changed something like major.
Yeah. Was it too low? Is it now better?
It's better, but it was like it also sounds a lot better too. What did you change?
Okay. Now it sounds better.
Not too much.
Or
Go back down. Go back down.
How about now?
Go up. Split the difference. Right
How
there.
about now?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Talk to me about Rejects because I've never been to any of these.
So Rejects is event to which people submit their KubeCon talks that were rejected. And there are so many talks in KubeCon that there are so many good submissions, right? Because I think the submissions are now counting in thousands. Vast majority get rejected. So it's a conference for people whose submissions were rejected. It's much more intimate, it's smaller, it's more communication, great people. I love it. It's kind of a slightly bigger version of a meetup. Think of it that way, right?
So it's a more organized hallway track.
I mean, it's a conference talks.
Okay.
Kind of, there is a schedule, I think 2 tracks or something like that. It's really cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, and that's how I'm starting my week in KubeCon.
Is that Rejects?
Yes, that's on Sunday, if I'm not wrong. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, along those lines, I saw this come through this week. Google to cut down on employee laptops, services, and staplers. Staplers are still a thing for multi-year savings. Do you know what a stapler is? You were talking about what is Firefox. Do you even know what a stapler is anymore?
I happen to know what it is, but hey, yeah, if you ask me, don't cut down on staplers. Remove all staplers. If any of those 3 items should be saved, that's staplers. It's actually in inverse order: stapler, services, and then laptops.
Yeah. So the reason why I saw laptops, it was funny they had that listed out. For developers, you still get a real machine, but if you've in the past were using like getting a MacBook Air or something like that, now you're going to be getting a Chromebook. Gee, go figure. It seems like Google should have done that a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that Google employees tend to have get both laptop and desktop. Desktop tends to be sitting in the office, and then laptop when they're not working in the office or something like that. There is a talk that a bunch of Google, I never verified whether a bunch of Googlers were using that. Was that Google laptop that they released, Chromebook?
Chromebook, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's
So
what they're going
machine.
to be. Yeah, well, when they used to make it. But now they don't make the hardware anymore.
As in, yeah.
So I think that's what would have been better. It's like under a section called Desktops and Workstations, the company said CloudTop, the company's internal virtual workstation, will be the default desktop for Googlers. Probably should have been all along. You know. And we've baked too many muffins on a Monday. Anyway. So just like everywhere else in the tech world, things are being tightened up.
Yeah, but in case of Google, depending on how ChatGPT goes versus what's the name? Bard. Yeah, depending on how that goes, Google might be cutting a bit more.
Yes, we'll leave it at that. So this is our jab and poke segment of poking at Google. But here's one that really got me scratching my head. Autopilot is now GKE's default mode of operation. I don't even know why I said it that way. Operation.
Oh, really?
Yes. Check this out. So if you go down to it, when you create a new cluster, that's how they want you to create it. What is your gut?
You scared me. I need to double check now whether that's the same situation in CLI. 3 hours ago, I did create a Kubernetes cluster from CLI, and I don't think it was
Autopilot.
But do I check it anymore? Probably not.
Is that okay?
I mean, Autopilot back in the days had problems with tools, with stuff that should run on every node, right? So if you have some kind of daemon set, like forgetting logs or things like that, then that was problematic. Other than that, it's great.
Wasn't the whole purpose of Autopilot, they chart, or at least not the purpose, but the charging model is per pod? Or am I confusing that with GCR?
You are right in a way. So, I mean, charging model is per node. It's just that there happens to be one pod on a node, so
right. Okay.
It ends up being the same thing.
Being the same thing. A pod per node. That sounds like a VM to me.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, if you ask why not a VM instead of a container, because it builds faster and it starts faster and what's not, right? If I would have to build a different VM instead of every container image, that would be slightly more painful. But other than that, why not? Yeah.
Well, it's basically, if I think about it old school, it's just a more automated ESX cluster, right? I don't. That's what it is, right? It's like, okay, here's my pod. There's not enough capacity. It's going to spin it up, here's my image. It's going to turn it into a container in a pod, and if there's no capacity, it's going to spin up a new node, right?
I mean, in a way, containers. That's the thing, right? Kind of containers are accomplished to convince people to accept immutability, even though they should have been doing that with VMs long before containers, right? The moment we got EC2 instances in AWS, and what's the HashiCorp, the name? Packer.
Oh, Packer.
No, Packer.
Packer, yeah.
Yep, Packer is basically the same as building container images, except that it's VM images, right?
Well, and you can build container images with Packer as well.
You can? Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah. So, so I guess now you need to check and see if your CLI turned it into Autopilot or not.
Yeah.
Autopilot is GKE, but is it the other way? Okay, so stateful sets, GPU, no?
I mean, I'm going to repeat what I said many times. Simply, Google is killing it when Kubernetes is concerned. We can have a long discussion whether it's good or bad for other types of services, but it's always ahead, man.
I think that'll be the way it is for near term, at least, right? Meaning the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Now, relatively small percentage of people are using it seriously,
Yeah.
but technically it's ahead.
Right. Well, there's one more thing, is Google Cloud Deploy adds canary and parallel deployments. And you can use this if you're marrying Google Cloud Deploy. If you're not using, oh, help me, what is it? Flux or Argo. Flux or Argo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, preview availability of canary, which is rollout, Argo rollouts in this case, not
Argo rollouts, exactly, or Flagger.
Right. Or Flagger. And parallel deployment. Is there a parallel for parallel deployment? I don't know.
I haven't tried it yet at all. Google Cloud, whatever it is.
Google Cloud Deploy. So that's both out in preview. Deploy in parallel. Why would you deploy in parallel? Multi-target. Oh, environments, I guess.
There you go.
Right. Just I've got. Well, this goes back to Carlos's scenario with Adobe.
Exactly.
Right. Right. He's got 22 clusters or whatever his number is. Punch the button and off it goes in parallel. Would you want to do 22 clusters?
I mean, if you run at scale, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
By the way, that's the subject of the video 3 weeks from now.
Okay. Multi-target. That's their phrasing. So anyway, that's now available in that. Let's see. What's the future say? What is the future? Comprehensive, easy to use, and cost-effective DevOps tools.
Okay, that says nothing.
Are key to building an efficient delivery software capability. Says nothing.
So both of those paragraphs said literally nothing about the future, at least in relation to the rest of the article, right?
Yeah. Stay tuned as we introduce new and exciting capabilities and features to cloud deploying the months. There's no future. I mean, it's not even saying safe harbor. These aren't safe. These are safe harbor statements. You go on to listen to any kind of financial reports of a company. You'll say, here's our safe harbor statement for this call, blah, blah, blah. They don't go safe harbor here. It's like, yeah, we'll be talking about it. Maybe it's like, we'll be talking about it in the future.
Yeah, we will have something in the future. We are not going to tell you what that something is because we probably don't know.
Bad subhead. But anyway, if you are an all-in type person and using tools within GCP, take a look at it. Why not? I mean, unless you're already using Argo rollouts, even if you are using Argo rollouts, why not go ahead and test this and just see what's the difference? Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Test out your tools. You might find things that are better for you. Who knows? Okay. I think that's all the Google news for today. Can you believe it? That's it. I didn't see anything for AWS. I didn't see anything for Azure, which means we're less than 10 days away from KubeCon.
Exactly. Exactly. No, but then, kind of like a week before, a bunch of companies actually announce, including mine, things like a week, maybe 2 weeks before KubeCon. Sometimes you want to be proactive and avoid the noise because that week of KubeCon will be a lot of noise.
From smaller companies. Hey, we're at KubeCon. Come see our booth.
Yeah. Twitter is full of we're at booth X. type of tweets now. And I'm curious, does anybody pay attention to that? Is there kind of like, do you now, oh, you're at boot X, let me write it down on a piece of paper and or memorize the number, kind of. How many boot numbers you can memorize that in?
I can memorize 3.
3, oh, that's 3 more than me.
See, my problem right now is KubeCon EU is happening the same week as a big conference in the US that has nothing to do with what we do. It's NAB here is the National Association of Broadcasters, which is when I get to see all the new tools like, okay, what's going to be the new Stream Deck? What's going to be the new other audio video thing? That's what I'm looking for.
Really?
Today. Yeah, that's happening the same week in Vegas. Yeah.
Okay, so that's when Elgato announces things in row then, okay.
They could be, yeah. There's going to be, and much bigger as well, but that's the big one. So while you're busy...
Is that
figuring
the
out
week
KubeCon.
when actually camera companies are going to come up with a reason for anybody to buy a camera today?
Yes. And just in case you didn't figure that out from his subtle nod there, his camera today, and we haven't talked about it, but I can tell by how it looks. Here, let me go and put you back full screen. This is coming from his iPhone 14, I believe, is what you have.
Yep.
Pro
Yeah.
Max? Is it the Pro Max or just the Pro? I don't even remember anymore.
Pro with the smaller version, yeah.
The smaller version, yeah. And it looks great.
Yeah. I mean,
And
if I had good lighting, it would look
Oh.
even better. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's not replacing a good camera. I'm not saying that.
No.
But kind of, if you ask me, kind of, would I now spill out a couple of $1,000 for a camera that will give me slightly better results? Probably not.
No, the only reason you would get a better camera is if you could remotely control it, set, focus, and do all the things on it, which you can do in your phone, by the way.
Exactly.
How did we end up down? Oh, I know how we ended up down that path. We're not going to do that anymore. This is the part of the show where, unfortunately, we fall down the AI rabbit hole, I think. Mm-hmm. So, or at least this starts leading into it. We missed this last week. There's now an official GitHub Actions extension for VS Code to where you can actually manage and it shows and does whatever it is.
And
If you need it.
if you need something that is related to your development activities, let's face it, VS Code is the logical place to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, VS Code or JetBrains.
Well,
whatever.
and.
And,
if you cover
exactly.
if you cover VS Code and the JetBrains family,
You
you've
probably
covered
cover like 95%, right?
today. Yes, absolutely.
And then we have Nano and VI. And
And then you can start doing those if you like, if you have the time, just because, right? But
oh yeah,
if you cover those two, so that's the extension for GitHub Actions for VS Code. Oh, okay. I didn't get all the ordering right today, so forgive me. So AI is going to be sprinkled throughout. This one wasn't AI. We'll get to the AI in a minute. Our favorite VHS is now back with a new release. A couple of terminal decorations, but basically it's just margins. So it's small. But we couldn't do this before. So now I can set a background color. I can set border radiuses. I can do little things. In case you don't understand what VHS is, you can basically write a script that will then execute whatever it is in the shell for you and record it for you. So if you're needing to do a little snippet, this is one of those things. And they fixed a couple of other small things too. You can also do a specific shell. That's new as well.
nice.
So that's that for this release. Just every once in a while, little things come out. But we'll see how that plays in the future. Now, I know you don't like Java anymore. But have you heard of JBang?
No, what is it?
It's the ability to run Java directly from the command line. Just like I want to run, think of it like doing Groovy, right? To where you can just run a quick line. You can do that with this. You give it a Java file and it will run it and execute it.
You mean without creating a jar file, executable jar file, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, the guy behind JBang created And it came out on April 1st. So I went, okay, real or not real? Because April Fool's Day. Turns out he wrote it now to where if you have an OpenAI API key, and you say JBang init, in this case, give it a file name. And then you say connect to GitHub and fetch all repositories under JBangDev and collect how many stars they have. So what will happen is it will create this Java file with this based on what you've prompted.
Nice.
And it actually works.
Yeah.
I tried it on a different machine. I didn't have time to get this machine set up. Otherwise, I would do it here. But you have to have
I'm
the
getting
near latest
confused.
version.
So what's the GH Java?
That's just what's going to be in this file is going to be the code that's generated from this prompt.
Okay. And now I get it. So
that's the init.
It will write GH Java. Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Yep. So again, I know you don't like Java anymore. You
No, I like the idea. Yeah.
But this is, I thought this was cool. It's like now it wrote the code for me, whether it's perfect or, and it goes in. That's what this video is it goes through the whole thing. And let's see if I can scrub to the point to where, I don't remember if it was this one or somewhere else. Anyway, that's, why not? I mean,
but I feel that we are kind of very, very close to not needing all those tools. I think that we are very, very close, literally saying the same thing to ChatGPT, kind of, hey, that same text, and then you continue and put it into this file.
Right. But at some point, you'd have to get it onto your file system.
Yeah, I meant some kind of ChatGPT CLI.
Whatever it is. Yeah, like an official CLI.
Which is essentially probably what this one does.
Yeah. And JBang does a lot of other things too. But anyway, think of JBang as a shell that's using Java as its shell language.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what I was trying to get to. Okay. Terraform GPT Helper. Oh dear. Yet another GPT. So it gives you the ability to plan, validate, destroy, init, and show. So if we were to run this video, and we cat out main TF, it looks pretty straightforward, right? And now I can say TF GPT plan. Based on that main TF, it's going to tell me in human language what it's going to do. And then if I do an init, it shows by line exactly what's going to happen during the init process.
Nice. I mean, it's sad at the same time, to be honest. Kind of, we have a real revolution happening right now with AI, ChatGPT and what's not, right? Yeah. And then one day, somebody writes code for one day that wraps it around and kind of, oh, I have a new project. I mean, great, nice. But it's almost sidetracking from the real revolution happening, right?
What do you think that is? What do you think the real
ChatGPT itself? ChatGPT itself, right? Kind of like not really wrappers around it, things like that. ChatGPT, Bard, if it ever starts doing something useful.
Okay. Anyway.
But yeah, why not?
Provide explanations for Terraform commands and concepts. Eventually, I think that will be in the Terraform CLI itself.
Eventually, it will be in
everywhere.
GitHub Copilot.
Yes. Well, that's true. Which we'll get to in just a moment. Spoofy, you and I both have received emails about problems with our DNS settings for mail. And this gives you the ability to check everything out. So you give it, it's a Python script, you give it the domain and it figures out everything that, if everything's set up correctly or not. So, thus he says, this tool is for testing and academic purposes and can only be used where strict consent has been given. Do not use for legal purposes, which is what the script kiddies would do.
I don't think you need this disclaimer for that.
No.
It's just testing if SPF and DMARC combinations are spoofable or not.
Yeah.
Little script. If you have your own domains and you're sending mail from your domain or whatever it is, like you're hosting on Gmail, like you're paying for Gmail, what's it called, Workspaces, Google Apps, whatever it's what it used to be called. You might want to run a tool like this just to see how it looks. Otherwise, you may be getting emails from other people. I'll leave it at that. Okay. I've got 2 tools here. Did I leave out? I guess I did leave out. Shoot. I did have, maybe we talked about it last week, was the new GPT-4 coming in GitHub. That was last week. I got confused. Anyway, you work in open source. I work in open source. All the tools that are blowing up around this space. Number one, this company called, what's the company name? SafeDep has released Vet to identify risks in open source dependencies. It's never our code. It's the dependency of the dependency of the dependency of the dependency.
I mean, I will never blame myself as long as there is somebody else to blame.
Right. So this tool will help blame us faster or blame somebody else faster. That's what it's for. Identifying risks in the open source software supply chain. So that's this tool, and it's got a little policy engine. Thankfully, not using Rego. Sorry, not my favorite language of choice. But you can get started with it. You point it at your, and we've seen tools like this before. You point it at your repository, or not your repository, but point it at your file system and say, give me the thing. In this case, you can put a filter in, just show me criticals, or show me licenses, or whatever it is, right? So this is whatever it is. This goes at it a little differently than a lot of other places does. They're using CEL, Common Expression Language, which is from Google. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting traction. Yeah.
So that's what that is, and you can also put it in a, what was that? Because I'm thinking about this. Okay, I need to put this into my CI pipeline, right? Because if I find something, I don't want to even bother doing a full build or doing a package. There's no reason to do a package. So I want to fail things. By the way, I have a video coming out in a couple of weeks where I use chain guard images as my base images for a Java app. Zeros. It was amazing. We'll be having some people on from chain guard later this year. But anyway, that's SafeDep. Now, at the same, where I found this, I also found this other one called Chainloop. And Chainloop was open sourced last week, very recently. Similar. It's an open source software supply chain. We got to come up with a better way to say that. And I also don't want to say OSSF because I'll trip over that too. Control plane, a single source of truth for artifacts plus a declarative attestation process. Look, we got to make these words simpler. Please? I'll say it that way, please. Maybe it'll happen by then. So there's a CLI and off you go. You point it at the control plane, which I don't really understand. It feels so. GitLab, Tecton, goes through the things and go into chain loop. Results having a SALSA level 3 compliant single source of truth. Right, salsa. This is not the good type of salsa. This is the hard work salsa. This isn't salsa and chips.
Yeah.
So it's
nice.
If you're not even looking at this yet, you're already a year behind.
At least.
And if you're selling into, and I'm not a lawyer, so take this with a grain of salt, but if you're selling into government or public sector, this is going to become table stakes.
I mean, if you're selling to government, then you're not selling without it.
Yeah. It's going to quickly come that way. Chainloop, by the way, is Apache, which I wanted to say was true, but I can't remember what Vet was. Because I'm actually going to shoot a video about Vet next week. It's Apache as well. Okay, good. So use it where you use it. We had on Humble Penguin last week. Remember that was that environment thing that we saw? It was sort of a weird thing.
It was that you didn't really care for it. We'll take a look at it again. So Humble Penguin was NVO, right? And you went, okay, sure, why not? Right, that was this one, to where you manage your environment variables, all as a package.
Okay.
Another repo this week, I guess he's learning Rust, because look at the work stuff, which is fine, right?
Yeah,
Template,
why not?
if you're familiar with Maven, love it or hate it, not my favorite, but go for it. You understand the concept of an archetype, right? I want to be able to say Maven, archetype, and then it will explode and do exactly what you want from an archetype definition. Well, that's basically how I define this. It's a user-friendly CLI for creating new projects with templates. So don't go as nasty as archetype. So it's like I point it at a repository. The templates are defined in repositories. And then once you've got it defined, like I want a main pie and it's always going to have this content or the variables. And you can go off and run it.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I used something similar. I had yesterday. I had to do something very, very similar. Create repositories based on a templated repository, but also change a bunch of things in it. I resorted to DevStream, but this looks very similar.
Yeah. So you can point it at, give it some values because you give it the variables, and then off it goes. Boom. So
very cool.
If you're having to create white labels of something for whatever the white label thing is, if you're always rubber stamping with 5 variables, something like this it's not also rocket science, right?
It's not special, but it's nice. This could be a very valuable component in somebody's IDP, right? Developer platforms, things like that. Hey, you want to start a new project? Tell me what is the language you're using and this and that. And then it, among other things, not only that, right? But among other things, spins up a new repository based on a template, changes things, and off you go. I mean, off you go with an additional number of things, but as repository is concerned, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I lost comments here. Ingen is here, missed the first half, but now the workday's over. Ingen, are you still in a place to where daylight time is still not?
I don't know. He's in the same time zone as I am, so.
Oh, okay. Then no. He says, Ari jumped in. Did you at least get a beer? No.
I can confirm that he did.
No, he says no. He says no.
I mean, he did get beer 2 weeks ago in Tel Aviv. Now, I don't know which event that question was referring to, though.
Well, it's today, right? Because the today's way over. All right. Karen, how are chain guard images compared to Iron Bank images? I have not tried the Iron Bank images, and I should, now that you've said it. We'll have to remind myself to watch this part to remember to write down to do Iron Bank images. Inception. I need to try that. That's actually a great idea. Okay, so anyway, that's template. You might find a use for it. I don't know. I liked your idea too of using it in an IDP. Like this could be one of those things to where, because you want something easy to manage in an IDP, right? You want that. And YAML, as much as I hate it, this is one of those things to where it sort of makes sense.
Because usually kind of to kickstart a project, you need 2 things, right? You need a repository created that will trigger ultimately some form of pipelines that will do the rest, like building images or whatever you need to do normally, especially after you create that repo.
Well, then you would create your landing section in whatever ticketing system you're using. What else do you need early? You need a repo, you need tickets, or issue management.
Tickets, so repo pipelines, issues, GitOps, assuming that we are using it, maybe some policies, some scanning. I mean, that's all pipelines already.
It's all pipeline, yeah. Okay. All right. That's enough to get started. Everything to the left of the whatever your registry is, wherever your binary is going to live. Get all that set up first.
Yeah.
Okay. Last tool is called trurl.
Oh, that cannot be pronounced even. Trurl.
So there is a video. Notice what organization it's under.
Curl. Okay.
It's from
TR-URL. Okay, now I'm getting
Correct.
it. I mean, I don't know what TR is, but
Yeah.
I understand
Well,
the second half.
Well, TR is a command line thing that you use to parse and manipulate things.
Okay.
So basically, he's run curl and tr together into trurl. So you give it a URL and set the host, and then it does this. Okay, whatever. Let's get to something a little more interesting here. We want to change this to be this. So it's basically manipulating the URLs to do whatever we want. Like, okay, these first couple are like, whatever. But here's one. It's like, okay, give me the path. So it's extracting it from this URL, and it's just giving you the path. Because these are things that curl is having to figure out anyway from when you type in whatever crap it is that you type in on the line.
Yeah, nice.
Just a little tool. Nothing major, but it's from the guy that's been writing curl for the past 25 plus years.
Hey, man. It's probably one of the most important tools in any Linux distribution.
Yeah. But I do recommend, it's like you look at this example and go like, what? Watch the video. The video will make it make a lot more sense.
Okay.
Speaking of videos not making sense, what did you get into this week?
Man, I wanted to talk about security, but not kind of, hey, this tool about security, but more about how to do it all, right? The big picture and different, I believe, different approach maybe how to deal with security. Usually security is, hey, this is the stuff that I have, how I make it secure. Well, I tried kind of, okay, maybe actually we should design the system to be like this.
I have to laugh though, seeing the OPA thing right on your forehead, like right.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about that thumbnail. No. But I'm also too lazy to tell my guys to do a new one. So
yeah, it's pretty funny. But anyway, so we're talking about next week. Why is your next week so bad? I mean, I understand this week being like horrible, but what's wrong with next week?
You want a list, huh?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I still need to practice with Whitney for the talk in KubeCon. I'm yet to prepare the talk for rejects. I need to create a buffer of videos so that I do not need to work on them while I'm in KubeCon. And there are a few other smaller things. And on top of all that, I still have a real job.
What's the problem?
Nothing, just kind of the day. Why is it 24 hours?
What do you need? Would 48 be better?
Yeah. That sounds just about right.
Well, all you have to do is just 2x. We're not asking you to be a 10x developer. We're asking you to
work
be a 2x
faster.
developer.
Exactly. I'll try.
Oh, yeah. I feel for you. Well, do you want to cancel next Friday?
No, it's all good.
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's fine. I mean, kind of that's low hanging fruit. I just
it's like
kind of it's that hour. I'm more concerned about actually I need to sit and then work for hours and hours to prepare something.
Yeah. Okay. So we will be here next Friday unless something changes. So it's KubeCon, we reserve the right to do weird things, time wise. But if you are going to be at KubeCon EU, I don't even know what the dates are anymore. 15th time frame? 18th?
I don't know. Sometime during the week after next.
Yeah. Look for Victor because he'll be there. He'll be at Rejects before it starts.
Engin
will be there. Whitney will be there. You were saying Whitney's going to be there, right?
Whitney will be there. I mean, from the people in this comment, Luis will be there. Oh.
Right. Cool.
All I can say to everybody going there, if you need to book reserve spots in the parties right now. Otherwise, it will be too late.
What does that even mean?
That means that KubeCon is happening after 6 afternoon.
Oh.
Kind of. The rest is a filler.
So basically, it actually starts at 6 p.m.
Exactly.
Anything prior to 6 p.m. is just...
It's just, yeah, existing.
Okay. That's... makes no sense to me. But okay. I'll go with that.
That's your bedtime, man. I understand.
It is my bedtime. I went to bed last night at
But
7:30.
that's why
I was out.
That's why you should come to KubeCon in Europe, not in US, because you can continue being in your own time zone with your own schedule.
No.
But-
I'd be way asleep. It's the other direction. At 6 p.m. your time, that's 2 in the... Oh, you're right. I can't do math. I can't do date math. You're right.
Nope. If you go to bed at, I don't know, 9 p.m., whatever your
8.
time zone, that's plus 7 hours.
Yeah. So basically, if KubeCon EU starts at 6 p.m., really starts at 6 p.m., then that's noon my time.
You still have 6 hours, 7 hours.
I'd still have 6 hours. Yeah. I'd be okay.
Exactly. You wouldn't be able to go to the events themselves, but
No, I'd still be asleep. Well, no, I could go to the events too, because that would be easy. Because I get up early. It's just that
Exactly.
at the end of it. Okay,
Nah, you
so
would.
here's the question. What parties do you recommend?
Okay. If I'm
Which
going
is-
to pick only one,
Only one.
I'm going to only one.
Okay.
Cube Bowl.
Cube Bowl.
Yeah, Armo folks are organizing something in a bowling alley. And I'm still internally debating whether I should bring with me a bathrobe. Big Lebowski?
Oh. Yes, you should. For the same
Exactly.
reason
I should go Big Lebowski, yeah.
for the same reason you did Joker at Jenkins World. For the
Exactly.
superior
I was
guidance.
strict. I was strict in that one. There was an email saying there will be a costume party or something like that. And I was the only one who understood that as bring your costume.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, you should bring a robe. Actually, just wear. You're staying in a hotel. Just take the hotel robe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
But it'll be white.
It's
It's
too
too
new.
white, too clean, too. It needs to be
Exactly.
ratty. Yeah.
So
Go
I need to buy. I don't have one, so I need to buy one kind of tomorrow, and then wear it all the time, kind of
Work.
like inside out, just to kind of wear it down.
That should be funny. Okay. so if you couldn't go to Cube Bowl, what would you do? What other one would you go to?
Something karaoke organized by Lian. That's going to be fun.
Lian's with
Lian from Labs,
Loft.
if I'm
Loft.
not mistaken. Yeah.
yeah. So get your this is so weird to say. Get your party RSVPs in now.
Exactly. And you need to always choose. So you go for big guys like, AWS or something like that first, because they always serve food and fancy stuff. You get stuffed. And then you go for startup afterwards, which is usually drinks, no food type of stuff.
Which actually sounds probably more expensive, but it's probably not.
No,
Depends.
drinks in Europe are cheap, unless
Okay.
you're in Nordics.
I really don't get it, but that's okay.
I mean, look, if I go to the local bodega over here, a bottle of wine is cheaper than a bottle of Coke.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a little more sense, I think.
Now
Sure,
you
why
figure
not?
out whether that means that Coke is too expensive or wine is very cheap here.
Yeah, probably both. Okay, so we'll be back next Friday, but thinking through the next week. Victor's video on Monday on DevOps Toolkit, podcast on Wednesday, and then we should be back here next Friday. I would say that's
That's
a
the plan?
greater than 80% chance we'll be back next Friday. I don't see a reason why not.
Yep.
Unless you say no, and that's okay if you say no. But then the
I'll
next
say
Friday,
yes.
the next Friday of KubeCon, we're not doing that because this is where it gets interesting. The week after KubeCon, be sure to be, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, be sure you're subscribed. because we're going to get Victor's review of KubeCon EU. Now, when are we going to be recording that?
You know that for every KubeCon we do that review, and it's always the same. And that's Aki did not go to any talks. I have no idea, but the parties were good, and I met great people in the hallway.
Let's see if it matches that again. But we're recording that on the Saturday after KubeCon at 11 a.m. The time that you're going to be in, which is actually 5 a.m. my time, which normally the earliest we record is 6 a.m. my time.
Okay.
And it's on a Tuesday or a Thursday, but now it's going to be on a Saturday at 5 a.m. So it should be interesting. I should have a great rock DJ voice that morning. Just it'll be all gravel.
Can we do it later? I don't
No,
want
because
to
you're
mess
flying.
up with your life.
You're flying.
We're flying.
Yeah.
You see, Darren, you knows better than me my schedule, man.
Well, you're not flying, but you need to leave the hotel by noon.
Okay, fair enough.
So we need to do it we want to do it in the hotel, not at the airport, because we save airports for this time.
Yeah.
Right? We want to save airport for actually doing live, not a recording. So, wait, what is it? Oh yeah, maybe you know what?
Yeah.
Are you guys staying in the same hotel?
I don't know how long when is Engin leaving, but Engin, if you're free on Saturday morning,
At 11 a.m.
yeah.
That
I mean, he doesn't have to. He can be already home. Doesn't matter. We're recording
be home.
remotely.
Yeah.
So Engin, ping us. We will assume
That'd be
that you will go to the talks.
At least a one.
And keynote doesn't count.
No, keynote doesn't count. But you can go to the keynote. It just doesn't count for the reviews.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. I think we're going to wrap it up because I do need to go write another script for next week. I wish I could come up with a better idea, but I'm not there yet. Why is that not coming out? There it is. Okay. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Yes, you will.
That's it. That's a public promise. Now there is no escaping it. He will be publicly shamed if he doesn't.
Ingen, I know we're on a delay here for about 5 seconds. Ingen, are you going to be gone or are you still going to be in town?
Ping us.
So, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's not there yet. maybe we're buffering. Oh, he's going to be gone. Rats.
Okay. He can do it from home, right?
Do it from home, yeah. Ping me in Slack. By the way, the Slack was scrolling down there. Ingen, ping me in the Slack, and we'll try to get you set up before you go, just so it's not completely new coming in that time of day. So, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week. See you. Bye.
Cheers.
And this is how we do this. I know how to do this. I really do.